How Not to Grieve, featuring Keigo and Izuku. Written by LeFoulIcarus. Dubbed by Mulberry Stars. Summary. After the death of his wife, Kiego Takami leaves his 4-year-old son with Rumi Usagiyama so he can grieve. This turns out to be a giant mistake. Before we start this fanfiction, I just want to say this fanfiction does contain the deterioration of a child and child neglect. So please be sensitive about this, and if this is not your cup of tea, please click off. I'm sure there's other videos for you. Okay, let's get started.
Rumi, I just can't do it. He looks like Mia.
Kiego whimpered to his best friend over the phone.
You act like I care. I'm grieving too,
Rumi hissed.
She's my wife, Rumi. I need time to grieve.
Yeah, while you go grieve your wife, your son is grieving 2 parents. There was a slight pause before Keigo spoke up again.
I'm sorry. I just... Listen here, you oversized chicken. I want your ass over my house in 15 minutes. If you won't take your son, at least talk to him. He misses you and he needs his dad right now. Rumi, you have 15 minutes.
Then the line went dead. With a defeated sigh, Keigo grabbed his keys and flew out of his window, not caring that he was in 3 days old sweatpants and hoodie. Luckily, it was recently dark out, so no one could see him. He really did not want to be seen like this. In less than 10 minutes, he had arrived at the doorstep of the bunny heroine, Usagiyama Rumi. He knocked once before he was greeted by his best friend, who he had not seen since he dropped out his son over a month ago.
Good. You came. Now come see your son. I told you why I can't, okay? Keigo, Izuku is 4. He's fucking 4 years old. He just lost his mother. Don't make him think he lost his father too. Just stop it already. I love Izuku so much, but he looks too much like Mia. I can't look at him right now. If he was home with me, it would just take longer to heal. So stop it, please. This isn't healthy for either of you. You need your son, and your son needs you. Like I said, he looks too much like her. I can't. Keigo!
Rumi screamed when she saw him getting ready to fly again.
If you leave again, he's gonna be crushed. I'm sorry,
he whispered as he took off back home. What neither hero had realized was that little Izuku was hiding by the door and was listening to every word they said. Before he could be seen, Izuku ran away back to his temporary room. He crawled into his bed and curled up under his blanket. It smelled like his dad, if barely. With fat baby hands, he grabbed his Hawk's plushie and squeezed it tightly against his chest. That was the position Rumi found him in when she came back to check on her pseudo-nephew. It pained her to see this child like this. Knowing that she could not do anything to help this silent child, she left so she could start making them food. Poor Tyke had not eaten anything all day. After what felt like hours to Izuku, he finally sat up. With tired eyes, he looked at his plushie of his daddy. Why does Daddy hate me? The green child sniffled. He made his voice slightly deeper as he imitated his dad. I hate you because you look like Mommy. I look like Mommy and Daddy hates me. Tears streamed down his chubby freckled cheeks. Daddy's sad that Mommy left and I look like her, so he's sad. Izuku pushed the plushie away and crawled out of his bed. He went up to the mirror and room and stared at himself. His small wings were red. He knew he got that from his daddy. His hair was curly and green. He got that from his mommy. His eyes were green. He got that from his mommy. His freckles came from both parents, but Mommy's freckles were very prominent. Daddy's freckles only came out in the summer. Maybe if he stopped looking like Mommy, Daddy would love him again. That had to be the answer. Daddy hated him because he looked just like Mommy. Deep inside, Izuku knew that it was wrong, but he didn't know what else to do. He just wanted his daddy to come back. He raised his hands and began to scratch at his face. His nails were short, but they were sharp enough to dig into the skin to make pink lines. He continued to scratch at his face until it was hot red with blood. He needed to get rid of his freckles. Then he began to pull at his hair. The hair pulling hurt a lot more than scratching was caused him to whimper. He continued to pull out strands of his curly green hair until Rumi came in to see why the boy was whimpering.
Izu, what's wrong? What are you doing? She screeched as she ran up to the child.
I'm fixing myself, he said through a pained smile.
What do you mean, fixing yourself? You're perfect the way you are.
No, I'm not.
Izuku finally began sobbing. His cheeks stung as his tears seeped into the fresh wounds. A mixture of tears and blood streamed down his face as Rumi ran forwards and tried to wipe them away with her hands. No, baby, you're perfect. Why do you think otherwise?
Because Daddy hates me.
He choked on his own sobs. Rumi pulled the crying child into her chest for a hug. Your daddy doesn't hate you. He's just sad right now.
He's sad because of me.
No, baby. Izuku continued to sob into the bunny heroine's chest, her heart breaking with each wail he let out. She waited for him to calm down a bit before she picked him up and brought him to the kitchen with her. She sat him down on the counter, and it took a couple of tissues from the side. With light pressure, Rumi wiped away his tears and tried to wipe away the blood.
No, don't stop them!
He wailed as he smacked her hands away from his face. I have to. We don't want anything bad to happen because of your cuts. We need to disinfect them to cover so they can heal.
No!
Why not? She kneeled down to grab her first aid kit. She pulled out some Batrin and some bandages.
If I look different, then Daddy will come back.
Let's not worry about your daddy right now, okay? She smeared some of the Batrin over his cheeks. Let's focus on you right now, okay? As Rumi applied the bandages on the sniveling child, she grew more and more frustrated with the winged hero. As much as she wanted to phone him or drag his ass back to her place, she knew that he would give the same excuse over and over. As much as Izuku wanted his dad, Rumi needed to take care of him with as much possible as she impatiently waited for Keigo to calm down again.
Wu-chan,
he whispered. What is it, Bunny?
I'm sorry.
It's okay, baby. Please don't do that again, though. We don't want you to be hurt. Can you promise me not to scratch your face again? He shrugged with a downsided glance. Rumi knew that Izuku was young. He didn't understand things well, much less complex emotions such as grief and abandonment. She wanted him to promise to never do it again, but she knew all she could do was watch him, love him, help him heal at his own pace. Fuck Keigo. Do you want to watch TV with me? I'll keep your mind off of things for a while. I can make us some popcorn and we can watch some shows and movies until we're stuffed with buttery popcorn and half asleep.
Can I wear Daddy's hoodie?
Absolutely you can. I'll wear the hoodie I stole from Shota when we went over to his place. With a bubbly giggle, the child climbed down the counter and waddled to his room, where he grabbed the hoodie that his dad had let him keep when he was sad. It was a red zip-up hoodie that Izuku had called his wing hoodie, since it was the color of his daddy's wings. When he ran back to the living room, Rumi cooed as the hoodie dragged on the floor after him. Ready for some TV time? She smiled as she brought up the popcorn to the couch to sit next to Izuku. She rolled the gray sleeves up and grabbed the remote so that they could forget about the world, even for just a couple hours. The next few days were fine. They weren't anything too bad, but definitely not good as they should be. Izuku would cry into his winged hoodie, or into Hawk's plushie, and whisper how much he missed his mommy and daddy. At least he wasn't hurting himself again. He also had moments where he would run to Rumi and ask for cuddles or to bake with him. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. Then shit hit the fan. 2 weeks after the scratching incident, Hawks was on the news stopping crime. Izuku was making food with Rumi, with the news in the back. It was just supposed to be the background noise as they made pancake with eggs. After nearly 2 months of radio silence from number 3 pro hero Hawks, here is him stopping a robbery at a hostage situation in the downfall Hosu. The perpetrator was carrying a firearm at the scene and was threatening the hostages. There was a standoff between the police and the site and the perpetrator. Luckily, pro hero Hawks swooped in and saved the day. It seems that whatever it was prevented Hawks from being in the public eye for so long does not seem to have limited his job as a hero. We graciously welcome Hawks back and hope that whatever it was kept him away is better. As for the lucky fans at the scene of the crime, they were able to take photos and get autographs from the winged hero as he flew back to Hawks Hero Agency. Now on to Takashima Ao with the weather. Rumi stared at the screen in shock. How dare he do this? It had been nearly 2 months, 7 weeks, 46 days, 3 hours, 29 minutes, and 11 seconds since he left his son. Now he seemed all better, and instead of going to pick up his only son, he goes to stop crime and then goes to his agency to do whatever he does there. That absolute fucking dick. Once she got her hands on him, oh no. Izuku. When she went to see how Izuku reacted to the news, she was shocked to see that he wasn't there where she left him. He wasn't on the counter, mixing chocolate chips into the cream-colored batter. He was gone. She turned the stove off and ran to his room to see if he went in there. "Izuku? Bunny?" she called as she ran into his room. "Are you here? Bunny?" She inched closer to the giant lamp under the blanket. He was hiding, and it was clear that his little wings were extended. His body itself was not that large. She tore the blankets off of the child and gasped at the sight she saw. Izuku was plucking out his feathers as tears streamed down his face. She thought she was horrified when she walked in on Izuku scratching his face and pulling his hair. Now she was mortified. His wings were something Izuku loved. Even when it was sad at Keigo, he would never have wanted to hurt his wings. Now he was pulling out his feathers by the handful. "Baby, don't do that!" She panicked and jumped forward to stop him. "Go away!" he wailed loudly. "I can't do that, baby. You're hurting yourself." She pulled his hands away from his wings. "No! I thought that Daddy hated me because I look like Mommy, but he hates me for being me. I just want Daddy back!" He wailed even louder. She had no clue about Keigo avoiding Izuku because of Maya. Now he thinks that Keigo hates him even more. Enough was enough. Keigo needed to speak to his son now. "I'm gonna bring your daddy here even if it kills me. Please don't pull out your feathers." In all honesty, Rumi had no clue if the crying toddler even heard her, but she left the room and called Keigo. By the third ring, he answered. "Hey, Rumi. You need to see your son now," she growled. I can't. I can't get back to work, but I don't think I can face him yet. Listen here, you oversized KFC chicken, and listen good. This isn't a request. This is a demand. Your son needs you. I said I'm sorry, but no. No, Keigo, I'm serious. He needs you. I can't help him anymore. You need to get here in 20 minutes tops, or I call CPS. You wouldn't, he growled. I would, and I've been trying my best for your son, but what he needs is you, so your time begins now. If you aren't here in 20 minutes, CPS gets called. She hung up and ran back to the room to check on Izuku. There was more feathers added to the pile next to him, but now his cheeks were starting to bleed again, and he was pulling out clumps of his hair. He already had a bald spot forming, but he didn't stop the hair pulling out once he saw Rumi running at him. Izuku, please, Daddy's coming. He hates me, he hates me, he hates me, he mumbled to himself, which caused him to begin viciously scratching again. Please stop, I've got you, baby. She hugged him tightly, so he couldn't move his arms. While he couldn't physically hurt himself now, Izuku continued to mumble that his dad hated him, almost like a mantra. 12 excruciatingly long minutes until Keigo knocked at the front door. Daddy's here. Daddy's here. I have to let him in, so I'm going to leave you here for a second. Promise me not to hurt yourself. He sniffled as she got up and walked to the front door as fast as she could. When she opened the door, she was met with an angry-looking Hawks. I don't appreciate you threatening to call CPS on me. I thought we were friends. We are, but I needed to make sure you got here fast. I'm sick of repeating myself to you. I can't face him. Keigo, Izuku is hurting himself because of you.
That caused him to freeze up. Out of all the things he expected to hear, that was not one of them.
What do you mean?
His voice suddenly getting small.
He's 4, Keigo, and he was originally confused and grieving his mother alone. Then he overheard our conversation, and now he thinks that you hate him after seeing the news this morning. He snapped. Please go and see him. I can't keep doing this. He's hurting? Oh no.
Keigo pushed past Rumi and ran into what used to be the spare room, Izuku's room.
Birdie? Daddy?
Izuku looked up to face his dad.
Birdie, what are you doing to yourself?
His lips quivered at the sight of his son. His face was red and covered in bleeding scratches. His hair was so thin. He could see his scalp in so many places. Worst of all, his wings. There were feathers everywhere. His wings were so sparse now. How did he let this happen to his son, his precious son who he loved so very much?
Daddy!
Tears began to stream down his face again.
You don't hate me anymore. I did it.
He cheered, fists clinging to the feathers like pom-poms.
No, Birdie, please.
He inched closer to the cheering boy.
Please stop. But you love me again. I did good.
He showed off his loose feathers.
You don't hate me.
He broke into sobs.
Do you still hate me?
The child whispered so softly that Keigo could barely hear it. Keigo wrapped his arms and wings around his son fiercely, ugly crying into the toddler.
Daddy never hated you. Daddy's so sorry, Birdie. You never hated me. Then why did you leave me? I was being stupid. Daddy was sad and he just missed Mommy. But I miss Mommy too. Why couldn't we be sad together? I was being stupid. We should have been sad together, but I was being dumb. I'm sorry.
Izuku stared at his dad.
Can we go home and cuddle, please? Of course, Birdie. Let's go home and cuddle. I promise to make this up to you. Woo! That was super angsty. I love that. Oh my god.